Nobody left.
Back from recess.
Two advisory people here.
Mark, did you know I've counted the number of times I've kept my mouth shut? 37.
Working in progress,
37.
James. The country's
Kind of
long.
like breaking an addiction.
Keep it going.
38.
Keep it on.
All right. Time being 8 o'clock, which is really 9:30. Robert Swanson from the Highway Department is going to be very brief on the Chapter 90 funds, where expenditures are going to be. Robert,
Well,
welcome.
this year we were fortunate. Our Chapter 90 went up from approximately 325 to 407. We have some leftover funds. Some of those leftover funds are accounted for at the downtown project. So we have a grand total of $477,000 to spend, another $70,000 on top of the 407. I came up, every year I come up with a list based on a request from Andy to spend this money. I try to pick a number of projects all throughout town. I also look at different types of projects because I think that there's really three types that need to be done. You have drainage projects, you have road rebuilding projects, and then some preventive maintenance projects. The last 2 years I haven't come forward with any preventive maintenance just simply because of the condition of roads. Last winter was by far the worst winter I've ever seen. There wasn't that much snow plowing, but there was just so much freeze-thaw rain and more freeze-thaw that the roads just disintegrated unbelievably. When I looked at all the projects that I really would like to do, I was amazed at the total cost. If you look at my third sheet, it's a spreadsheet. It shows that total cost almost $700,000, which we don't have. So I had to pare that down. It was my recommendation that we should do at least one drainage project. So based on the condition of Winter Street and the need for repaving there as well as drainage, I think this year we should do some drainage work there and run a drain up there. And then hopefully maybe next year we could pave that. Last year we didn't do Pleasant Street simply because of some condominiums that were going to be built there, and the developer didn't go ahead. But now he's going ahead, so that road will be ready, so I think we should do Pleasant. Right at the end of Pleasant at Cocasset, that's one of the worst sections of Cocasset Street in town. So I think while we're doing Pleasant Street, we should also do that little section of Cocasset from Pleasant up to Somerville. That's only 800 linear feet. Pleasant Street's 800 linear feet. I think we should also do Beach Street from North Street to Meadowview. That's an extremely nasty section. We get a number of complaints up there. Spring Street, I think, is one of the worst roads in town. I think we should continue the work on Spring Street up past some drainage work that we did last year. And that'll pretty much take care of Spring Street, I think. There'll be other streets we should do work on before we proceed any further there. We also are looking at about $30,000 for work for a rumble strip around the common that's required. I think we're going to have to pay Lynch some retainage funds, and we have a little leftover money that we need to reimburse, that we need to expend on. So that comes up right around a little bit less than $500,000. And that's the amount of work I think we ought to do. I think if we took out the contingency that I put in, it doesn't concern me that much that we're $6,300 over if you just looked at the estimates, the way they came out. So it would be my suggestion to go ahead on that route. And then maybe next year, hopefully we'll be able to do some work on Mill Street, Prospect Street, look at the drainage work that we need to do, and I think that would take care of a lot of the worst roads, and Moore Street too, and that would take care of a lot of worst roads in town. But I think we really need 2 years worth of Chapter 90 money to get ahead of where the worst roads are in town.
Thank you, Bob. Linda?
I'm sorry.
Oh,
No, I don't have anything.
Paul?
No.
Question for you, Bob. How is it generally, what are some of the factors you think, okay, I'm going to bump this and put that on? You know, do you have like 3 guys that get in the room and is it just you?
Well, I try to make it as objective as I can. I come up with my own list. I ask my supervisor to come up with his own list. And then he and I discuss it, and then without telling the guys anything, we also drag them in and ask them what streets they think are the worst. They're actually the ones out there truly filling the potholes that we point at, if you will. And we all came up with the same streets, to be honest with you. So that's kind of where we come from. Where are we spending the most time? And just where are the worst roads to ride on that are going to cause damage to the residents' cars?
James?
This is not, I don't see it on the list. I got an email a month ago or so regarding a drainage issue. Wasn't that on Cross Street?
Oh, yeah. So that was
It's-
approved last year,
Right.
and it's not on this list because it was approved last year.
It'll
I
be-
had planned, oh, go
It'll be
ahead.
done, it'll be done this summer,
That's scheduled,
yes.
right?
In fact, I really tried to get it done over the last school vacation, but I just couldn't get the contractor out there.
Okay.
Otherwise, if I had had my way, it would have already been done.
All right, because I think the communication back to that particular inquirer was, let me know if there's no work started by June. So if it comes to that, if you can let me know in June, I haven't got there yet.
Yep.
I'd rather contact them and say you're coming in July or whatever.
Yep, I have the materials at the yard now.
I should have paid more closer attention, Bob. Is Route 106 on this?
Route 106 isn't on there. I'm still trying to get Aggregate Industries to come back with some kind of an offer to fix it. And I'm not happy they haven't gotten back to me. I don't know where we're going to go with that. But I've made it clear to them that I don't believe we got our money's worth there. And I think this
That one's going fast.
very fast. The only good thing I can say about it is that the underneath binder coat is actually in very good shape. It's the top coats that's the problem. So what I think needs to be done is you need to cold plane the top coat off and put a new top coat on it. It could be a lot worse. If the bottom coat was bad also, it would be a lot worse. It's not as bad as it could be, but it's bad. It's awful to ride on. And I'm waiting to get some info back from them on what they might want to do up there.
Well, I ride it all the time, so it's.
I just ignore the
So I
roads
notice
now.
it more than some other main roads, but a few years ago, Central Street was deplorable, and 106 will be shortly, and then faster on 106. When would you expect to hear something on that?
Well, I'm really disappointed I didn't hear last week.
Would you like a letter from the board? You can
Well-
draft a letter and sign the board, sign it,
Well,
send it to
I think
Aggregate.
I think I'll give them another call. I've sent them some emails and see if we can. They've gone out there. I've had them core the material to see what it's like. I got them to do some work around Norton Road, but now the rest of it's just falling apart. And it would have, I think, been a lot easier if they were still our paving company, but unfortunately they weren't the low bidder. So they're not our paving company. So,
And as soon as if they do come back and redo the road, you'll get a call from the guy that is your paving company complaining, saying you broke the contract.
yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Entertain a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the Chapter 90 roadway improvements as laid out by Mr. Swanson for 2008.
Motion made. and second. Any discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
If you need the board's support with Aggregate, just let us know.
Okay. Just so you know, so this represents 1.1 miles of road work this year, which is a lot.
Well, we had a discussion last night, Bob. What's the average standard cost now to do 1 foot of road standard width
Lineal foot.
on the regular market?
Grind and resurface.
Well, let's see. It's about $10 a foot.
10. So we were. I was at 100.
$10 a
Oh, maybe.
square
Well, let me-
foot or a
no.
lineal foot?
Well, I mean, it depends on the width of the road, obviously.
Well,
26
standard,
feet is
yeah.
the average.
26 is. Okay.
Yeah. So,
Ain't $10 a foot, brother.
yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, it's $100 a foot.
It is.
Yeah, it's $100 a foot.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
And
I shouldn't have done it in my head.
I did it without a calculator and then really worried about it.
So, yeah, it's about $100 a foot. But it depends on the width. And, we have some roads here that are narrow, some that are
Correct.
wider.
The average is 26, though, I think, or
Yeah.
24. So. Well, thanks again, Bob.
Well, thank you very much.
Pretty good estimate, James, for a non-construction type guy last night. It was $100 a foot.
Thank you.
Okay, we're catching up a little bit. Mark Resident, town planner, is not in the room right now. Yes, please.
This is Mark said I come in to discuss a sidewalk that's on private property at the Chestnut Green development.
Thought you were gone for the night, did you not?
I knew it was still up again.
I just told him basically, Mark, haven't got into it. This is about an easement for
That's
a piece of
correct.
sidewalk that's on private property. It's supposed to be a public sidewalk. We had talked to town council about it. There is a engineering drawing of the area attached to the letter.
And the area you're talking about is the new pharmacy.
Right. It's 988 square feet of sidewalk. The problem is, we can't cure the issue just with the board's approval. It needs two approvals. The board has to vote to accept the layout of the sidewalk, and town council advises us that it needs a town meeting vote of approval also, as you would to accept the public way. If the board votes to accept the layout, we could have town council try to work with the developer to come to some agreement on the grant of an easement for the sidewalk. One of the issues of concern with the grant of easement is paragraph C, the indemnification part of it, and that would need to be worked out by council.
Should we vote on that tonight, or kick it to council and have them kick it back to us?
Well, I'd say vote to accept the layout of the sidewalk, subject to council working out the indemnification in the grant of easement. And then we'd have to go to the next special town meeting to submit to the voters for acceptance as part of the public way.
Does this have anything to do with the same little piece of land that was here a month or so ago?
Chestnut Green.
That little corner of it, I know what you're talking about.
It's close to it, I think.
I think it's the exact area.
It's adjacent to it.
I think that's.
I think the road that shifted when that roundabout
Well,
was
yes.
being made at Chestnut and North.
There's this corner here.
Yes, the corner, well, part of it is the corner where the roundabout is. There's another parcel shown here. It says Town of Foxboro. That was deeded over to the town.
That was the piece that was
Right.
deeded.
That was the
Right.
piece that was deeded to the town because of, it was necessary to create the roundabout and the sidewalk. But as you can see, the shaded area was also supposed to be, and it's shown on all the drawings, but it was also supposed to be at the time conveyed by easement, not in its entirety, which is what they're trying to do now. And somehow that it wasn't submitted by whomever was responsible, whether it was Bay Colony of Vaness or Chestnut Green, it did not.
Was that?
So this would clean that up.
Crescent-shaped piece a matter for town meeting?
Yes,
Yes,
it was,
it was.
absolutely. It was part of the 4 deeds when we did the parking lot, the easement for the sewer.
last fall.
Prior meeting.
That's what I meant, the
Yeah.
prior meeting, that
Yeah.
was. So, I mean, we can vote on trying to accept this tonight, but nothing's gonna happen in the next town meeting in November, fall meeting.
Question? What if we don't accept it? What's the downside to?
Well, you have a public sidewalk on a private piece of property, which was intended to be a public sidewalk, and we were to obtain the easement there. I mean, it was always designed and intended to,
Right,
for
right.
this to occur.
But let's say they won't budge on the indemnification piece is a problem, is that what you're saying, Andy?
And we don't want to get involved. We don't want to be public. If it-
So I
The
get
thing
that,
is, we don't want to give up our statutory liability rights,
right.
and that's why council has to properly word any indemnification. It's part of this.
I mean, I guess my question is like Walgreens or whoever it is, just gonna start kicking people off of the sidewalk? I mean, is this, you know, I mean, I know it'd be nice to get it, but is it
Right.
like a must, like, oh my gosh, you know?
Well,
Well, they feel it's important. They wouldn't have brought it forward. They being,
Oh, so they'll get rid of the indemnification if that goes?
well, or they'll agree on some modified wording.
right.
I mean, I don't think they've discussed this in any great length at this point.
I had some discussion with them. No, they haven't worked anything out.
I mean, the sidewalk's very necessary because that whole development's gonna be done.
No, I agree, but if they're
But-
also trying to cramp
right.
down something we don't like, fine,
Right,
keep
no,
it.
I
You
understand
know, they're
that,
not gonna
yeah.
kick people off.
Right, so I'd say shelf this into council, but I'll refer to Andy if he wants us to vote on it.
Well, the vote would be subject to council drafting
Right,
indemnification language
That's
to
what would start
protect
it.
us.
that's what would start it.
Yeah.
The vote. to
It wouldn't be a
approve.
final approval.
Right,
My preference would be that we wait and see a document that's in front of us that is something that we can accept, rather than to vote it conditionally when there's no town meeting even on the list.
but what Andy's saying is that if we vote on the approval of the drawing,
Just the layout.
that would,
Layout.
the layout, that would start the process to get the attorney, to give us the correct language.
Yeah, you could do it either way. I'm just suggesting that
I'll make a motion to accept the proposed layout of the sidewalk as shown on easement plan of land in Foxboro by the Bay Colony Group. What else are you gonna say? There's no official title on it. As part of document from Nutter dated May 7, 2008.
subject to town council
I'm just, subject.
drafting easement language to protect the town's liability.
Well, I'm only making a motion to accept the layout.
I'll second it.
So Mark's, your motion then has nothing to do with the easement.
Nothing, just to accept the layout to
And
keep
if
the
the
ball.
drawing comes back and is in this form, then we can look at the language of the easement and accept the drawing in this form.
As I would refer to you two on that language, yes, absolutely.
So is that clear?
All's in favor?
Aye.
5-0, Pauline.
Paul
Feeney.
Feeney. Oh, can't you say Paul anymore?
No, I can't.
Two
I
Pauls.
just don't hear Paul.
If his name is Andy, they'd be A and, no, you'd have to be like,
We just need a Peter and a Mary.
Angel Martinez, then you could be A and then you could be, took me a long time to.
I knew there was a coding thought in there somewhere else.
Correct.
You got two copies there?
A motion to accept the layout is shown
No,
on
I
that
gave it. Did
document.
you take my copy?
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, thank you.
Review.
You want that added?
Andy, give the language and review the
Okay,
deed
all right.
restriction.
Yep,
I have it, but I just wanted to make sure that was.
the way that Andy said it.
Okay. Andy, we're on to the action items.
The time being 8:05, or,
Yes.
13 items on the list. The first item would be the approval of two sets of minutes for prior meetings, the April 22nd meeting and the April 29th meeting.
I looked at the minutes, but as we all do, we all see things differently and we don't all speak for each other. I had no problem. Did anybody have a problem with the minutes? We'll start with April 22nd.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of April 22nd.
second,
Discussion.
Calling. 1, 2, 3, 4, page 5, new old business, paragraph 3. I would ask that you change the word asked to there is no.
Is that the one that starts with, am I on the right page,
Yeah,
Jim?
mine.
Phil
Jim
Henderson?
asked about the status. Is that the one?
No, new
The next-
old business, third
Yeah.
paragraph there, Jim Thrasher received,
Okay.
and the second line is the word asked.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't recall asking, I recall stating there is no definite interpretation. So I would ask you to remove asked for and insert there is no. And I would ask for you to go to the next page, second paragraph. Now that the Foxboro Cable Access puts them online, I'm gonna have to read these minutes earlier so I can go online and listen to myself. But I don't believe I said anything about anyone engaging in civil disobedience, because I would have no way of knowing whether they were acting in accordance with the order or not. So somebody used the term civil disobedience.
It was Sam Perkins who used it.
Then,
It was Sam Perkins.
okay. I wouldn't object to the changing of Mr. Perkins, inserting Mr. Perkins for Jim Thrasher, but it was not I who said that.
It was Sam Perkins who said that. Anything else changed?
Not on that side.
Paul's motion to approve as amended now, the April 22nd minutes,
That's what I said.
2008,
Absolutely.
seconded by,
Me, yeah.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
I'm gonna abstain.
Oh, absolutely, sorry. 401, Paul Mortensen is abstaining due to the fact that he was not here at the time. All right, second set of minutes for April 29th. Does anybody have a discrepancy with the minutes?
It's a typo. Yeah, that word I had to spell on the telephone, and I should never have said at the bottom of page 4, INDICIA. It better be right, and I didn't look it up in the dictionary. It's not an E, it's an I. Memorialized forever in the minutes. It's the little things in life.
Where are you, Jim?
The bottom of page 3, the last, just on top of the vote, the other advertising indicia,
Oh, indeed.
I remember that magic word that night, James.
no logos.
Motion to accept the minutes as amended for April 29th, 2008.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
401, Paul Mortensen is abstaining. Okay. Andy?
Item 2, we have a bill from Labor Council for the month of April, amount of $3,806.25. I've gone through the list of items and I verified that the bill's accurate.
Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the invoice for services of council rendered for April 2008
In the amount of $3,800.
in the amount of $3,806.25.
Motion made. Second out there.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I probably should update the board on the balance in our legal budget account, but prior to your approval of this bill, we have a balance in the budget of $58,747.
5-0, Paul. Andy?
Hey, whatever remains in that balance will go to free cash.
Yes, yes. Item 3 was a letter the board received several weeks ago from a resident of North Street requesting that a deaf child sign and a children drive slow sign be installed on the street. I had both the chief of police and Robert Swanson, the highway supervisor, go out and look at the location. They both recommended the signs be installed.
So we need to vote on that?
Yes.
Motion to install a deaf child sign placed along North Street And a slow down sign.
Now, this is in the vicinity of 37 North Street.
Okay, in the vicinity of 37 North Street.
Second,
Reduce the deaf child sign.
And the slow.
and the children's club.
How many?
1 and 1, I would,
One, yeah, one
the
of
way
each.
I look at it.
Yeah.
I imagine the young lady might have been in the audience tonight. I mean,
Okay? There's a couple of guys driving around the United States, and they're looking at signs, and they're finding grammatical errors, and they fix them. So shouldn't it be drive slowly?
We have a standard sign that we use.
Drive slow?
Yeah,
Okay, well, I'll
drive
call
slow.
those guys.
Okay.
It should be drive slow.
Motion made and seconded. Any, all those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 volume. Must be relaxing to be, must be a little more relaxing to be over there, James, because you're giggling it up tonight.
I'm up to 46, I can't count that one.
Andy?
At our last meeting, we had directed a letter that the board received from Anastasia Servanos of Lakeview Pavilion. We proposed to install some plantings along her property, Lakeview Road. I had the highway superintendent and his people go out and look at it, and they've approved the location. They're going to be planting 25 arborvitae trees on the north side of Lakeview Road by Main Street and Route 140.
And everybody's all fine with just the highway department and everything, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the request by Lakeview Pavilion to plant 25 trees on the north side of Lakeview Road.
Second,
Why do they have to ask permission?
Good question.
Because of the setback from the road, we had to have it looked at to make sure there wasn't going to be any problem with any of our street maintenance and plowing and salting.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 volume.
Item 5, it's a renewal application for a Hackney license from Carol Thatcher, who drives for East Coast Limo. Deputy Chief Chandler has reviewed and signed the renewal application.
motion to approve the hacky license renewal for Carol Thatcher for, what's the date on this? Is it
Expires
dated?
February 16th.
Yeah, for an expiration date of February 26, 2013.
No, that's his driver's license. It's a 2-year.
Oh,
2-year
where
license.
am I?
Is it checked, new or renewal?
This is a renewal. It's not checked off, it's a renewal.
Linda, why don't you, can you
Oh.
withdraw that one?
Yeah, I didn't say that.
It's not seconded, so.
It wasn't checked off, so I just assumed. So it's a renewal for 2 years then?
Yes.
Okay. Motion made.
Did you want to, it wasn't seconded, so if you withdraw it, you can
Yep.
start again.
Okay, I'll start again. A motion to approve a hacky license renewal for Carol Thatcher.
Motion made. Second. Paul can take that one. All those in favor?
Aye.
It's definitely going to be a little bit of rookies night around here, especially me. So, okay, Andy.
Item 6, Walter Groves has sent the board an invitation. He's the commander of the VFW. Invitation to participate in the Memorial Day ceremony at the Foxboro Common on May 26th. The starting time will be 8:45 in the morning.
And it's just informational.
No, it's an invitation for the board.
I know, but informational for us. We don't have to vote on going. We don't
No,
vote.
just decide among the members who's
I
going.
mean, typically, we all try and show up, and I plan on attending at this point in time.
I'll be there.
Usually the chairman gives remarks.
Right. I'm scared.
So, write them down. Fine.
Okay.
I write them down, sitting there.
Okay, next thing.
Item 7 was a letter from John Delarusso, President of Sharon Taxi, Inc., asking the board to approve a rate increase in his taxi fares. I'd like the board to put a hold on this request at this point. I'm talking to a couple of the area communities and trying to get a survey of what the taxi fares are in area towns before you approve the rate increase.
Could you also research when was the last increase from what amount to what amount?
Sure.
And that would help us, I think, understand, though, clearly, the cost of delivering transportation services is very high, and I think maybe it's something that we want to visit, at least at our next regularly scheduled meeting. Do we have that? Is that too much to ask?
I would think not. I would think he would want to come in for an action item like this and explain his situation, because I think we all understand it.
I don't think it's that complex, Mark.
Right,
If I
just
give you a tabulation of what the rates are being approved for in the area towns, and
You just
he's
want
provides
to-
with the information.
Would you ask the office to call them and tell them, we looked at it, we're going to get some information, and we're going to try to visit it again? Is that
Yeah.
okay?
Mr. Chairman, just for procedure, I don't think you need a vote on it, but I'll suggest unanimous consent that we table that for a future meeting.
I will second the tabling. Okay.
Item 8, there's a request from Richard Noonan and John Hurley to have the board approve their request for the 8th annual Foxboro Against Diabetes Road Race, which is scheduled for May 31st.
I'll make a motion that we approve the request of Sergeant Noonan and Richard Noonan and John Hurley for the 8th annual Foxboro Against Diabetes Road Race as outlined in the letter received April 29, 2008.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 9 is a letter from Stephen Chilton, Senior Vice President of Mass Development, alerting the board to a project being undertaken by the Save Center for Learning. There will be bonding, repairs to the school of $2.3 million. And basically, it's a notice to the board for you to comment if you think there's going to be any conflict with their project and with regional development. I don't believe there will be, but
Yeah, Andy, I'm sorry. I always get, that's, Sage is over there, the Sav.
No,
no,
Sage.
Sage
It's
is,
our old school.
Yes.
I always get them confused.
Sage is
Okay.
our old school off Mechanic Street.
That's just, once again, informational?
It's a notice to the board if you want to submit any comment, if it's going to be in conflict with comprehensive development in the area.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't believe it will be.
Any questions? Thanks, Andy.
I have a bid award for the board to approve. It's the regional purchase group we belong to. We bid out purchase of paper supplies for the next year. WB Mason got the bid as the low bidder. I recommend the board approve the bid award to WB Mason for 1 year, beginning July 1st.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the bid award to WB Mason for paper supplies for 1 year, starting July 1st, 2008.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Andy?
Item 11 is a list of prior executive board minutes that have not been released. The board wants some time to review the list and the minutes.
There, if I may.
Yes, please.
There are a lot of meetings, and one of the things that we haven't been doing is moving these minute meetings out of the drawer and into the public file. I read for, I'm going to say 2 hours, and got tired of it. I'm a slow reader. But I read that many, and that takes us to July of 2005. We inherited this. This is really when Mark and I first started. We're finally getting into the meetings that we started. But it's my opinion that this board is all of us are capable of reading them and determining whether or not the reason we're holding them falls within the statutory exception that allows us to hold them. What I would like to do, rather than to take up the time at a regular meeting, it's really something that we all should do. If we catch up with it and get us to where we're 6 months away, then maybe we can roll them at executive sessions on a regular basis and start releasing them. But because there are so many, I would request, if we're all willing to come back next Tuesday at 8 o'clock, the room is available. We'll have just an executive session, put the minutes on. If there are things that we need to discuss or reasons not to release them, we can hold them pending further discussions, but we can probably move a lot of them.
I agree, James, I agree totally. And I will agree, I'll second, if that's a motion, I'll second it, to advertise me for executive session to review the minutes next Tuesday, 8 o'clock. The only thing I will disagree with is allowing anything else on the agenda, because every time we have one of these special meetings, all of a sudden somebody wants to get crammed in, and next thing we've got 3 or 4 agendas going.
Well,
So-
if we have executive session matters, we may put them on.
I'm talking about other public, wouldn't be
We're meeting
executive.
the week after. This is to make the
Right.
meeting the week after
Right.
a little less. I'd rather work for an hour next Tuesday than to 11 o'clock again the week after that.
I agree, but I just don't, I've seen this happen a
And
couple
I-
of times.
I've read down to where the pad is, and I left notes in here, and I propose to leave them in and ask if you can get here between now and next Tuesday and read them so that you know what's in there. It'll make it go a little bit faster. If you can't, then we've got to be prepared to talk about what's in it.
Oh,
Is it
wouldn't-
just this one set?
Well,
Just
yeah, I
one
was just saying,
box.
we
One
would
box.
have, by Friday, if we're having a meeting, we're all gonna get a copy of those in a folder, would not, we not?
Well, I mean,
Or is that a waste of, I mean, I
it's a
can't,
lot of paper.
I can't, I understand that, but I can't see us sitting there and reading those for an hour and
Unless you can get,
get a copy to review at home. I mean, I'm not gonna make it between here to sit in
Can I
this
take
office
those, or
for
I
a
can't
day.
take those?
well, if you take them, then
Nobody's got them.
Well,
Always
I
go.
mean, if I took them, I would probably print them tomorrow and bring
Is that legal?
I don't know.
Uh,
I don't
we-
know.
we-
It's executive minutes, I don't.
I don't want to let them out of the building until they're released
Right.
or accepted. They should be in the building.
Very kind of
So I'm
offer.
gonna have to have
We're gonna need
staff
copies in a
time
folder.
to recopy them
Yeah,
all.
that's all we're gonna have to, we have to have a folder to review these. It's unfortunate, but I'm.
You know what, I will come
mean,
in
I
here
can
on
tackle
Saturday. I'll
Two
come in
in the
here on
truck
Saturday
at a
and
time, and
spend
then
a
a
couple
couple
hours
at
reading
lunch
them.
and a couple here. I can't designate that straight time.
But they're staying in the building, that's what.
No,
you
no,
said.
we can take them with us.
Oh, okay.
Not the originals.
No, but our copies.
Yeah,
Photocopies.
what I'm saying to you, since your busy schedules, you can't get in here to read them, I'm gonna have to spend staff time to copy all that stuff for you.
Oh,
I'm
I
gonna come in on
understand.
Saturday and read them. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, and I'll do the same, so to minimize the copies.
Well, we all can't come in because
I
there's a
can come in
conflict.
as well.
We can't. We'd have to post a meeting. You can't have 3
No,
people.
individually, Mark.
Yeah, he's gonna come at 6 o'clock
Individually,
in the
anyone
morning.
can
I'm
come in
gonna
and read
come
them.
at like 12.
Yeah, I'm saying
You don't have to have a
three,
meeting to come in and read them.
but 3
As
people
a
can't
board.
be here at the same time.
You don't need to.
Okay, well,
Separate.
just
I picked
making
them
sure
up
we're
because
not.
when I picked up my package, Paul Mortensen's was the only one that was left, and I didn't expect Paul to take the executive session minute meetings and read them.
no, I'm glad you took them, James. I'm glad you're accelerating
Wish
this.
I had done more.
I just don't think we can expect to be done with it in 1 hour unless,
No, you need to
We all
read
read
it. You're
it.
right, you need to read it ahead of time.
I mean, there's no way I'm gonna be able to read that. So,
It's just, it's regular selectmen meeting minutes, it's just you and I weren't there.
right.
Nobody was there,
None of
Yeah.
us.
most of them.
They're all dead, sir.
Are we aware of any things that should remain?
Yeah, there are notes on some.
In litigation.
And I left my notes in there as to what, probably should take them out. And everybody can make his own notes and we'll bring them to the meeting.
I mean, if there are ones in there that are already known to be that they shouldn't be released because they're, litigation matters, we can just pull those and not. make
Yes.
it all-
And also, we should look at the statute that says what can and cannot, when it should be released. I think we don't release them early enough. We'll get there.
Well, motion made and second for a special meeting. for
8 o'clock next Tuesday?
Yes. Thank you, James.
Did we vote on it?
Sorry, rookie night again. All those in favor?
I,
Aye. 5-0, Pauline, thank you again, James. All right, application, go ahead, Andy.
1 second.
Sure.
You have a memo from the Conservation Commission They're recommending 2 residents for appointment to 2 vacancies on that committee. But what we've done in the office is we've attached all the forms that were filled out by people that were interested, all those vacancies. Conservation Commission is recommending that Valerie Batille Berry and Russell Pavard be appointed. We also have applications from Diana Wickenbacker, Basher, and Bernard Marshall.
The Conservation Commission is doing their own screening?
I don't know how much screening they've done. I only know that they only interviewed these first 2 people.
And there's 2 more on the list, so maybe we should kick it back and have them.
No, this is the appointment of this board. Why don't we bring these folks in for an interview like we do on the Board of Appeals?
It's fine with me.
Why don't we bring anyone
all
who's
4.
applying for a position on the Concom this year, rather than
All 4 you want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
anyone there are 3 positions up. Anyone interested in applying for Concom?
2.
Oh, I thought I looked and saw 3 today. I thought 3 positions were expiring.
I thought it was 2, Jim.
These are new positions.
Harold, you're right, Harold Blum is wants to stay on the committee, he's a reappointment.
I mean, why don't we have them all come in, and we'll interview.
And then you have Bill Hawkins' appointment, and I forget the other person name.
Okay. Motion made to have them come in. So we want to vote on this?
You want at the next meeting?
James, you want to make the motion?
On the 27th of May?
I would make a motion that we ask anyone interested in applying for any of the expiring terms of the Conservation Commission to come in for an interview before the board at our next.
Well, we'll send them a letter.
Yeah.
We'll send them a letter to come in.
Okay.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
Motion made
Second.
and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 polling. And 13. The town committee appointment.
I would recommend, first of all, the ZBA, we do the same thing. However many terms are expiring, however many applicants we have.
We did that with the ZBA, you're absolutely right.
Right.
And there was so many qualified applicants, it was a very tough decision.
And I think that's a good thing for Foxborough.
I agree.
So I think we have a couple of expiring terms on associate members, and we have an expiring term on a regular member, right?
I don't believe we have an applicant for the regular term. I was contacted by one resident, I received an email, but not the application.
So maybe we want to have these Eric and James come in, and we'll talk about the Board of Appeals.
Okay.
I would think, James, we only want to do this with new members, not if the new existing members are already in there, I think.
These are just renewals, right?
There are appointments of this board, sure.
But-
I just think it's a good idea that
New appointments I can
it's a good
concur.
opportunity for us to talk to even people that have been on the board. They come in, we ask them, what are the issues, how do you see things, are you interested in serving again, those kinds of things.
That would be helpful to me, just because I wouldn't have necessarily met people who've already been appointed.
See, I guess one of the, especially the zoning board of appeals and the conservation commission, which are statutory boards that have statutory duties, and I think it's a good opportunity for us to understand how those boards function and who the folks are that are applying for them. I don't often get to a ZBA. I don't think I've ever gone down.
I'm often there.
Well, I think it's the kind of thing that this board should become more involved in. That's my opinion.
Well, we've got zoning board of appeals associate members up for 1-year term on the front page of the town committee appointment renewals. Are we going to have them come in, or are we going to?
Yeah.
I think that's what he's asking.
Yeah, that's why I'm just concurring. Okay.
Yeah.
So you want that? Anybody else on this list?
Conservation, he said.
I'd like to do
Yeah,
our own
Harold
conservation
Bloomberg.
committee. I think it's this board's duty to do the interviewing and the appointments to that board, rather than to leave it to that board to do their own interviewing.
So the 2 boards you want to do is the ZBA and the Conservation Commission. Is
Correct.
anything else?
Can I ask a question? Is it just all applicants or ones who've been looked at by the,
No, I think that with,
All
especially with the board that changes on a year-to-year basis, I think it would be a nice thing if this board established a policy,
All
especially
applicants.
as there are new elections, to have at least those two statutory boards come before this particular board and have a short Q&A. I think it would be a good thing.
I have no problem. Motion made second. Or do we have to amend the motion because he had ZBA? Do you amend your motion, James?
We can make it, how does the motion read now, Bonnie?
I wasn't aware you'd made any motion.
There you go.
I think I had made a motion. Are there any other issues that we want to talk about in terms of appointments?
I was gonna move on with that, but I'd like to,
We have the planning board, the associate member, Gordon Green's reapplying. I think it would be a nice thing if we invited Gordon Green to come in. Those three
just here tonight too.
statutory boards.
Well, I was all set on signing all these town committee renewals except for one. And I was gonna bring that up. I was gonna make a motion to approve all of these, but now we'll get into some rhetoric here, not rhetoric, some picking and choosing. So we're gonna vote on each one of these at a time, which is not standard procedure. Usually we vote on the whole deal.
We can segregate some of them out,
Okay,
vote
well,
on the rest.
okay,
Well,
let's
let's-
segregate what we're gonna segregate out. I'll start with you, James, because you brought it up. Zoning board, right?
Yes,
All right, so
zoning board of appeals.
We're
I
gonna-
would ask any applicant for the zoning board of appeals to kindly come in for an interview with the board.
Conservation Commission on the bottom of the page.
Conservation Commission
All right,
and planning board.
planning board. What page are we? All right, page 3, Associate Gordon Green. Anybody else want to add anything to that?
just on the capital improvement planning committee, we still have Bob, so we probably.
All right, you gotta cross him out. He can't serve. It's gotta be a sitting
Okay.
member of this board.
Yeah,
So it's,
okay.
Bylaw is specific.
And I would like to sit on town council.
Okay, go ahead, Mark.
Well, I just think that that's a budget we have every year, roughly $100,000 a year, I believe.
Well, for all legal services, the
Yeah.
budget's 120.
120.
Includes labor council and town
I
council.
just think we should, it'd be, talk about fiscal responsibility all the time. I don't even know what we basically pay legal counsel, but should we not check an RFP out there to see what else is out there? I mean, should we check our prices now that you bring up these committees, James? Should we check our prices? I mean, maybe there's a better deal out there, more bang for the buck, I don't know. But I'd like to put an RFP out and find out what's going on out there. Because we haven't, I've had Gelman for 3 years now. Questions been raised before, when I first got on the board.
Right.
We haven't reviewed it since then. I'd just like to see, you know, we're gonna be in charge of fiscal responsibility. I think that we should look into this.
Well, I think that this is a good opportunity for us, if I may. It's a good opportunity for us to review the appointments that we make and to spend maybe each year pay a little bit more attention to them. And I'm always interested in generating interest in people getting involved in town government. And if we signify that we're opening up the process, even if we have 2 applicants for 2 positions, but they come in and they talk to us, I think that's a good, positive thing. In terms of town council, you're right, Mark. It's a hefty budget item. And it probably makes sense to see see how current town council compares with other firms that might be interested in working for the town of Foxboro. And I think that's probably a pretty good idea.
You don't have to look far, James, just go in the back of the Beacon and they advertise everywhere in here. All kinds of,
Would you be willing to circulate a draft of the proposed RFP for town council?
Okay.
And maybe that, we can look at that draft and see if it encompasses all the services? we've had a lot of different legal services. We have a cable counsel, we have a labor counsel, we have a zoning town meeting counsel, we have a litigation counsel. I think it warrants some scrutiny by this board. I really do.
That's a good point. I'm just putting them on one. It should be all of them. That's a good point.
Well, we have this one in front of us right now, so why don't we do that? You can draft something up, we'll take a look at it, and send it out for public consumption. Certainly, we invite Delman and Bushman to respond as well, and I think it will all give us a better handle on what kind of services are being rendered, how we're being charged, what the incremental fees are. Are we being charged by the quarter of an hour, the tenth of an hour? Are we being charged a discounted rate when it's an associate, a premium when it's a partner? Are we being charged when there are two attorneys come? All those issues in terms of budget, I think it's incumbent upon us to look at that.
As we did 3
I
years
would
ago.
support that.
It's a good idea, Mark, and I think it's important. I mean, how many times have we talked tonight about the new makeup of this board? You know, there's certainly a few different members on this board that haven't been on this board for long, and you know, I think there's starting to be kind of a sea change in town. So I think there's kind of various frames of reference that, you know, we should look at this. Now's the time. Jim and Bert looked at it a few years ago, but I'm comfortable with doing an RFP. I think that's the right way to do it. I think to clean these renewals up, then want to make a motion that we reappoint. We reappoint all the committee members laid out in this document, with the exception of the Zoning Board of Appeals, the Conservation Commission, the Planning Board, and Town Council.
Motion been made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion in it?
Yeah. Earlier tonight, Sheila came in from the Neponset Reservoir Committee,
Yeah.
stating the fact that Mr. Hickey was the liaison for this board. I threw my hat in to take his place as the liaison on that subcommittee.
So we would also, in that motion, substitute.
Can I answer, bring some more information forward? I believe he still wants to serve on that committee, but also they suggested another selectman be appointed to the committee. He won't be serving as a
There's two
selectman.
committees. There's NCR and there's
NRC.
and there's NRC and there's NRRC.
See.
Well, my tired. There's two.
Okay, so which one are we talking about then?
Well, I think this one that's on the sheet with Bob, he's okay staying on the NRC, correct?
Right, yes,
Right, and then I think we appoint you after that.
to the NRRC.
Right.
NRRC?
Yep.
Okay.
So, okay, so we'll
All right,
hold
so,
off now.
no,
So-
go ahead.
Well, the NRRC isn't on the list.
Right.
No.
But we
I
can,
would-
she can fill out, we'll take care of
That's a
that.
selectman
Yeah.
appointment.
Yeah, selectman appointment. So we'll interview her too.
Bring it on,
I think
boys.
it's great.
I think so too. We're gonna be busy
Everyone should have a chance to sit on that side of the table.
someday soon. Motion been made and second. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Can I ask the board to make one more decision?
No.
Capital Improvement Planning Committee needs a member of this board to serve on that committee. Since Bob was on the committee, he can't serve any longer. He's not a selectman.
You feel like batting double here?
Do you want me to come for 2 interviews? You know, put on a different hat for each time, and, you know, one will have a fishing hat, and the other one will have, like, money in it or something, I don't know.
I'm interested in serving in that. It's really a short window of time that you have to pay attention to that.
Right.
Right. And Bob has done it traditionally, and if it would be the pleasure of this board, I'd be happy to take that role.
I'm fine with that, Linda.
Well, I'd like him to sit and interview, like
We'll
I
do it
have.
now. This is the committee that essentially
Reviews the
allocates the
reviews the
cash.
reviews the capital budget request
I
from
know what the point
departments.
is. I know.
So should I go ahead and make a
Go
motion, Mark? I'll make a motion to appoint Jim Thrasher as the selectman's representative to the capital improvement planning committee.
Motion made,
Second?
Second by Linda. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
That was easy for you. You're gonna make it easy for me too,
To make it unanimous?
so that I can,
To be on the NRCC?
yeah,
Of course.
really.
You volunteered. We're generally looking for volunteers. You are interested in
Okay.
the project? It's complicated, and it'll be good help when you read those.
That, okay, so there's no motion for Linda, it's just,
I make
I
a
gotta
motion
come here.
to- shall I
Thank
make-
you!
Yeah.
Wow.
Can I make that motion now?
Oh, is that what you were looking for?
Yes, I would make a motion to appoint Linda as
And
the NRRC.
Second.
It's the Pleasant Reservoir Restoration Committee.
Thank you.
Motion been made, second, any discussion?
Well, now the question is whether or not you have the votes.
I know, and it's gonna be the question all year long, I'm sure, but,
You're surprised at how it shifts.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
and I'll abstain.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else, Andy? It's
I'm
been
all
two
set.
late nights in a row. I'm requesting if anybody's got any old or new business that we carry to the next meeting.
Do you have something here that we need to do?
Of
I just
course
need
you
to sign some
do.
documents.
Okay, I'll do that.
Oh, you got a lot of signing to do. You're gonna be here for a half an hour signing these committee forms. You know, so you better,
Can you leave those and I can do those on Saturday when I come in? Or
We
no?
know when you're.
Those ones? The appointment ones?
new business, James, we're old business.
New business, we have had a budget committee, and it's been a 5-year budget committee, which has been looking at the soundness of our financial situation. We had, it's really an ad hoc committee where Andy, and I were meeting with representatives of the school department to discuss projected expenses and revenues. And that is an ongoing project. Right now, the next step we were taking was to ask Mr. Caspara to come in and talk about his expectations for new growth, which make up a significant portion of the budget. And I know that Paul Mortensen has a particularly astute financial mind. He's been just served on the advisory committee. He is well versed in the budget. And I think it would be appropriate for Paul to take that particular position with that budget group going forward. It would certainly give a long-term stability for this board. He's got the longest term of all of us. And I think he'd do a good job at that.
I concur, because I asked Paul the same question last night, and thank you for reminding me of that. I'm just getting a little tired after 2 nights in a row, late nights, so I'll take that as a motion.
A motion to have Paul Mortensen replace me on the ad hoc 5-year review budget committee.
And I will second that motion. Any discussion? Seeing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll abstain.
You know, you can vote for yourself.
All right, I vote for myself.
Of course you do.
It's gonna be a long year if we don't start picking it up. Anything else, James?
Old business,
Go ahead, sir.
we have left the issue, Attorney Epstein was gonna come in, we were gonna talk about the Verizon Fios issue. There happened to be a newspaper article I saw, how Hingham was able to get Verizon and Comcast to offer competitive services. Pretty sure it's Hingham. And that is something that I would like to see in Foxboro, us foster some kind of environment where we have competition among cable providers for our consumer. And if there's any way that this board can help us move in that direction, I think it's something that we should do. We have tended to rely heavily upon Bob and his the
Cable
Foxborough Cable
advisors.
Access Committee, and I don't think we as a board know enough about those issues. We have the one issue of the right-of-way bylaw and Verizon not wanting to come in with Fios, but we also have, the second issue is, if we have a second cable provider, and I'm certainly no expert. I'm just, would be interested in trying to find a way to encourage
Can
some
we
competition.
table that a little bit and discuss it again, the next meeting or something? I'm just,
It's an issue that won't go away, but sure,
I know,
it's old
it's just-
business.
it's, I can't think anymore.
Can old business be old?
We have the ongoing problem of our seemingly endless litigation with the Cohasset River Park.
James, do we have to get into that tonight? I'm tired. I was up to 1:30 last night. Can we just talk about this in the next meeting, please? It's 10:30 now. I really don't want it, because I know this conversation can get lengthy, and I'm really not up for it.
It
Please.
doesn't have to, Mark, but you're always free to make a motion.
Well, you know, I know where the motion's going to stand. I'm asking you as a gentleman, can we please end this meeting, because I'm not in any mood to talk about a dog park tonight. Can we just put it to the next meeting?
If you hear me out, we have a situation that involves this board and the authority of this board to decide what's in the best interest of the town of Foxborough. We have an executive session set up for next Tuesday night to review those minutes. It may be appropriate for this board to have an executive session next Tuesday night to sit down with the attorney representing the town to discuss litigation strategy in terms of how this board is managing its responsibility with that litigation. So if the board is amenable, I think it's appropriate that we do that next Tuesday. The problem is not going away, and we need to have some discussion about what
Where we stand?
what our litigation strategy is, frankly. We're the board in this town that makes policy and decides in conjunction with the town manager whether to prosecute, defend, or compromise litigation. And I think as a board, it's time for us to do that.
Didn't we already do that?
We did. It's time again.
Didn't take long. Well, it's your motion. If somebody wants to second it, let them go ahead.
To add it to the agenda for Tuesday night?
Do we want to do that
Is that what you're saying?
prior to the executive session
Yeah, I
review?
think that would make sense. I would like to make a motion that we have an executive session next Tuesday to discuss ongoing litigation in terms of litigation strategy.
I'll second that.
Just for discussion too, it's important to note that since the last time we met with our counsel in this matter, there's been additional, at least threats of litigation. So, I mean, it's, you know, there's been things that have happened that I think we need to talk about with counsel. So, I agree.
Anything else, Linda? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstaining? 5-0, Pauline.
I didn't add mine. I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night.
Is any discussion on that?
Thank you.
Thank